We are standing across the street from the Lexington Commons, also known as the Lexington Battle Green, where the first shots of the American Revolutionary War were fired April 19th, 1775. We think by the local militia, maybe the British went first, and it's now been observed as a national landmark. It also includes the Minuteman statue, which is very historic and very, you might say, patriotic and exciting and stimulating. The war started then, which we won, and it was protecting democracy or creating a democracy. And we're here today because we're worried. We're very worried. We're very concerned about the future of democracy in the United States of America. Because democracy is a fragile thing. It's a fragile thing, and in many places around the world throughout history, it's been destroyed, undermined, just taken apart. And right now, across the world and here, there are threats to democracy. So I'm going to read 8 major tactics of those who would want to undermine and destroy democracy in America. And they're not foreign ideas. They're incorporated right here. First going to read them off and then go back and explain them more, elaborate a little more, okay? So I call this the well-worn tactics of authoritarians and fascists. Step 1, cheating. Step 2, alternative facts. Step 3, scapegoating. Step 4, bullying. Step 5, threatening. Step 6, fear. Step 7, open invitation. And step 8, actual violence. Let's take it at step 1, cheating. Well, first of all, during the election of 2020, Trump tried many ways to cheat, many ways to make the electors under threat, which would have been a way to win unfairly a state or county or a district, because he was using tactics that would question the legality and the fairness. So cheating is a way of playing unfair. And people do cheat in games. They cheat in lots of things. But we're not expecting our leaders to do that. Alternative facts, that's a big one. And that's happening all the time in social media. But Trump is famous for, not just Trump, but his people, the MAGA people. They're famous for alternative facts, meaning these are not verifiable. And whenever they do verification, they come up with the fact they're not accurate. They're just alternative facts, as though factuality doesn't matter, as though truth doesn't matter, but it does. Scapegoating, well, that's very big. And minority groups have been scapegoated, immigrants have been scapegoated. There's a lot of people who are being scapegoated, and it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop unless people protect the people being scapegoated in enough numbers. Bullying, that goes without saying. Trump is and his people, a first-class bully. When they bring in people in Congress, because it's now a majority Republican Congress, so they can bring people in to committees. When they bring them in, it's not trying to find out information. It's raking them over the coals in the most outrageous and intimidating kind of way. And Trump's been a bully all his life, literally all his life, in his real estate world, his political world, and using his bullying to create fear in people who would stand up to it, even public officials. It's like there's a fear of standing up to the bullies. Because how do you stand up to bullies in general? Well, you have to have friends. People being picked on have to have friends. That's one way to keep a bully away. Threatening, he's definitely threatened right now that if he doesn't win in the 2024 election, that all hell is going to break loose. So Trump and his people are not guaranteeing a peaceful transfer of power in this election, November 2024, if he doesn't win. That's like cheating and bullying and threatening the peaceful transfer of power, which is at the centerpiece of democratic societies. What would we have otherwise? Long-term dictators. Now, what's the next thing? The next thing is fear. Fear, there's definitely an atmosphere of fear. Bullies usually win out when there's fear, and extremists and fanatics, they create an atmosphere that they can live with, they can enjoy. But the rest of us don't like living in a fear-based society because it gets in the way of quality of life, it gets in the way of community, it gets in the way of democracy, it gets in the way of civic life. Pretty much all the positives, fear takes over. Next one is an open invitation. So an open invitation is like saying that the hundreds of people who pled guilty were convicted and put in jail, some of them, from the January 6th, 2021 insurrection, which Trump instigated, promoted, supported. That's well documented. The open invitation would be more of that. And more of that would add to all the other elements we talked about, the bullying, the fear, intimidation, and so forth, and the cheating. If that happens, we're really in deep shit. And people are worried about that. Many people are worried about it. So an open invitation is saying, we're with you. Fascists, we're with you. Extremists, we're with you. Fanatics, we're with you. Instead of being, we're against you. We're against you. We're defending democracy. And then we have actual violence, which has already happened, but maybe more, I guess more, definitely more. The actual violence was January 6th insurrection. There's been a lot of other things since then. There was an attempt to take over the governor, to kill the governor of Michigan. There was big demonstration, attempt to invade the governor's house, governor's mansion in Michigan. There's been a lot of violence that we don't read about all the time. It's actual and it's real and it's continuing, and Trump is egging it on, urging it, which goes to say the bully concept.